Welcome back, troglodytes, to the Trogly's Guitar Show. What do I have here today? This is what would happen if PRS, Gibson, Taylor, and Ibanez got together and made a baby. Okay, so this guitar is a custom build of a watcher of the channel. He recently purchased a The Les Paul from me, and he wanted to share his custom build that he made in a class that he participated in. I think he said he spent like $4,200 on the materials in the class, and honestly, he made a fantastic guitar. So what he's kind of got going on here is the PRS single cut shape. I mean, it's loosely based off of a Les Paul. You've got kind of the exposed maple cap right here. You have the sunken in control knobs, and just the whole top and finish is very PRS-like to me. But it's Gibson in like the cherry sunburst finish. You've got the open book headstock here. It borrowed features from Ibanez with the disappearing pyramid inlays here, which I think turned out pretty cool. That's got to be my favorite attribute of this guitar. And then I say Taylor because when you get to the back of the headstock, the only other guitar I've had that had similar tuners were Taylor's, and they like to do this whole back headstock veneer thing with volutes and stuff too. So this guitar, it's just kind of an interesting blend of features. The pickups that are in it were hand wound by him. He made them himself. And I've got to say, the neck pickup, it's your standard neck pickup. Middle position, yeah, it's pretty standard. But he did something special with this bridge pickup because it's not like any bridge pickup I've had in a while. It has a very vintage, almost out of phase tone to it. I thought it sounded really good when you were trying to play like some vintage classic rock riffs. The one that instantly came to my mind was Runnin' Down a Dream by Tom Petty. It kind of just nailed that tone perfectly right when I plugged it in. As far as the hardware here, he has Godot parts on it and a Godot switch, and he has 500K CTS pots in this. And for whatever reason, on these particular pots, the roll-off is just garbage. Like once you hit setting 5, it almost sounds like it's at 0. So I'm not sure if something's going on with those pots or it was just the ones he used. He asked me to be hypercritical of his work. The only thing I can really knock on is some of the parts. Even himself, he said they weren't the best quality. So this is a maple top that is quilted, that he chose out of a bunch of really nice tops. And I really dig this cherry sunburst finish that he put on it. He was telling me that his instructor wanted him to do it in tobacco because he's never had anybody want to actually do a cherry sunburst before, but he liked this cherry. But I think what really makes me like this guitar is there's a Spotlight Special out there that was refinished to a very similar color. And when I'm sitting down with this thing and looking down, the wood grain and the color, just the way that it looks with this very pronounced top, it reminds me of the Spotlight Special center seam. So it kind of felt like I was playing a Spotlight in a weird way. It was kind of cool. But he did a beautiful job on the finish here. And as we go along the edges, you can see he left the maple cap exposed to look like fake binding. And then it's paired on top of a mahogany back here. So very traditional tone woods. You've got the recessed jack, kind of Telecaster styled there. So I guess we could throw a Fender into the mix maybe. But here's where things kind of get interesting. This is an ebony fretboard. But remember, he bought that The Les Paul from me, I think like 8 months ago, but he was paying it off in installments, and he was building this guitar while he was waiting to pick that one up. So he kind of borrowed some attributes of the Les Paul for this guitar. And one of those is he utilized wooden binding. What he did is he took this ebony fretboard, he cut some slices off of it, and then he put a very thin strip of maple running along it. And then he glued back those original ebony pieces. So it doesn't necessarily look like binding, but you have this maple running up along the fretboard, and if you missed it, it creates a box here up at the 24th fret. And it is a traditional Gibson styled scale length at 24 3/4. And again, these beautiful inlays. But let's take a second to really look at these. I was really glad he took the time to point this out. He's got regular mother of pearl right here. Then the other side of the pyramid is gold mother of pearl, and then it's capped off with abalone. So 3 different types of materials right there. The headstock is also very interesting. He put his initials up here, so if you're wondering what the GF stands for, it's just his name. And a funny little story behind this is he custom ordered these inlays and then inlaid them himself under his instructor. But he was asking for a 1/2 inch on each letter, but the guys overseas, they mistook it as they wanted 1/2 inch for the whole thing. So initially he wanted this to be, about twice as large, so it stuck out a little bit more. But what he's done here is similar to what he did on the fretboard. So he has multiple layers of wood to kind of create a really high-end look and feel. So put on top and on back of the mahogany neck is a bare maple layer, and then a maple layer that is dyed black, and then a wood that I'd never heard of before this. It's called zircony. To me, it just looks like rosewood or kind of like walnut vibe. I guess it's very popular to use on veneers because, hey, it's a very pretty wood, as you can see here. And he has that on the face of the headstock as well. So very high-end feel to this thing. Take a look at the back of the neck here. It is mahogany as well. Beautiful set neck construction here. It's a little bit chunky at the heel. If he wanted a little bit more criticism, maybe he could have sculpted some of this away. I mean, he's not a professional player. I'm not a professional player. But if I were a professional player that needed all these 24 frets, I mean, it's not impossible to get to it, but it's not quite comfortable to reach that last fret. And then the mahogany he used on the back here, absolutely gorgeous. It kind of dances around here. So it looks great in my opinion. And once again, he did the zircony back plates, styled again after the Les Paul. It had all rosewood parts. I think what also would have looked cool on this one if you would have went for like a dark zircony like binding all along this. That'd take a lot of time though, so I can understand why he didn't do that for his very first guitar build. But from what I've seen here, I'm interested to see what else he can create. So this is his baby. I hope you enjoyed, taking a look at it, because that's the thing. When you do a custom build guitar that doesn't necessarily have a name brand attached to it, most people won't pay a lot for it unless they can see it and feel it in person. And this is like the first high-end custom build I've ever played, got to spend some time with. And I've got to say, this guy, for his first guitar, he did a pretty good job. It's not for sale. It's his. Don't worry about that, but let's go ahead and hear how it sounds. I hope you enjoyed learning about this custom built guitar that a follower of the show made. For the rest of this episode, I'm just going to show you the photo collage that he sent me of him in the process of building it. Alright, thank you for watching, Troglodytes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.